Matter of fact, as we welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show, 11:30 The Tiger, we welcome in the Mad Dog himself, the editor of Tiger Rag Magazine, Ron Higgins. How are you, sir?
What's up, Patrick Netherton, as in Matt Patrick Mahomes?
Yes. Not to be.
We got it.
Yeah, not Pat.
Not Pat.
Don't be Pat. No, we're not. That's not. We don't play that. Me and Randy Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' mother, neither one of us are down with you calling us Pat.
There you go. I'm with it.
Hey, number one, good to talk to you. We hadn't talked to you in a little bit, so good to have you back on. Number two, tell us a little bit about how things are with you, your fam, your crew. Everybody doing okay? Getting through all the pandemic? All right.
Everybody's okay. Everybody made it through okay. One son's outside of Baton Rouge. He's good. Other son's in Huntsville, Alabama. He's good. Everybody's good. We all made it through. Just into a really strange football season.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that. And you mentioned he's good, but I would say he's in Alabama, so he maybe isn't that good.
Well, I call it. He works in. Actually, he works for the Army. He's out of the Army, but he works for it. He's in intelligence work.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him, I said, Carl said, you're in a safe place because nobody would ever associate the word intelligence and Alabama together. So,
yes, exactly. I mean, that's hiding in plain sight is what that is.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, yeah. Hambone, your boy Raja was a little bit late on the rim shot. He didn't realize we were doing a bit over here. So, yeah, he was a little late. So apologies for Hambone being a little late on that. Hey, you mentioned it's kind of a weird football season. That's certain. But what was game day like? Kind of walk us through a Saturday in Tiger Stadium where there's not many fans to speak of. They don't really get to be that loud. The press is all up there, but they're all socially distanced, which I've met some press before, and I'd like to be socially distanced from a lot of them.
Absolutely.
But kind of walk me through the sort of oddity of that Saturday in Tiger Stadium.
Well, I always get the games early anyway. It's my deal. I always try to be in the press box 3 hours early. And, most of the time, but even at 3 hours early, I'm fighting my way to the press box from press parking. And this was honestly, it was like going to some Liberty Bowls I've been to. You could leave your house 10 minutes before the game and pull up to the press box and park with no problem.
Yeah.
There was just nobody in the streets, just a lot of security people, just empty. No Tiger walk, down Victory Hill, which would have been useless on that Saturday because there's no Victory Hill.
Right.
More like a losing hole. And inside the stadium, it was just had the fake cardboard cutouts of people who pay $50 a shot to have their cardboard cutouts look at the field. And it was they had 23,000 in there, and the only time they really made noise was in the third quarter when LSU was rallying to tie it back up. Otherwise, it was just like, it was strange. It was just bizarre to watch this unfold. And LSU played up to the unemotion of the crowd. They just, they showed up and, they got their tail beat. I get the State played a much better game, had a much better game plan. It was a wake-up call in some sense. Maybe for some LSU fans that 2020 is over, 2019 is over.
Yeah.
There's no reason to party on, Garth. Really, it was a good wake-up call. And now they get to reload. Everybody wants to, put the blame everywhere. They put the blame on Myles Brennan, put the blame on the defense. It was definitely the defense. It was definitely Bo Pelini's, not a very smart game plan of keep playing man-to-man when you can't cover.
Well,
it didn't help.
I kind of want to get into that a little bit, Ron, because this is what I think a lot of people, and you would understand this, you've been around football for a long time. You put in your game plan based on, whatever personnel you have available to you. And you don't work on a lot of extraneous stuff, right? So their game plan was, hey, we're going to play man, we're going to blitz because we've got Stingley on one side. We feel like Flott can be okay with a second receiver. The kid from Nichols can be okay with a third receiver. The freshman can get a fourth receiver, that kind of thing. And so we're not going to run it. We're not going to practice a lot of zone because we're just not going to run it, right? So to me, it seemed like a team that didn't have the ability to do something different because it's not something they'd practiced. So when Stingley goes out the night before, you can't change the game plan at that point because all of it's already in. You think that's fair?
That's fair. I mean, I'm sure they worked on some kind of zone in practice, but I just it was painful to watch because it was like, they had a graduate transfer quarterback, and he was very patient, and he did a great job of making big plays when he had to. He threw the ball where it was supposed to go most of the time. Made great passes, had 3 third-down touchdowns. It was a lot like watching Burrow last year, who made the plays when he had to make plays. He went to the right places, and the receivers ran past the cornerbacks, which was a lot like LSU last year, but LSU's on the other end this time.
Right.
I thought Terrace Marshall played great.
Mm-hmm.
Had a couple of drops, but some of his touchdown catches. I mean, really, he had to adjust to. He did a great job. He played great. I mean, he's going to have a great year. Brennan didn't play great the first half. Tentative, slow to his reads, fell on the ball too long. Got better the second half. LSU ran the ball better the second half. LSU played a better second half, much better.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Much better second half.
And it felt like, Ron, to me, that it was sort of when Brennan was set and was ready to make the reads correctly and let the ball go, that was the time the offensive line had breakdowns and he was getting pressure. And then the times he wasn't getting pressure, it seemed like it took him too long to get through his progressions and make his decisive read.
Yeah, it's like I guess he didn't trust his decisions or didn't trust himself. I mean, the great thing about Burrow was, Burrow had confidence where he was going with the ball, and he would throw it before a guy would break. I mean, that was how much they were on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not having all summer to work with your guys. Maybe that's a byproduct of Brennan being a little unsure of himself. But even though he had an okay game, he still threw for more yards than any quarterback in LSU history in a first-time start.
Yeah.
The 2 interceptions, the one was at the end, he threw it up. The other one, he had his arm hit.
Right. And that was a touchdown, by the way.
That was a touchdown. The guy was waiting for it. They had a touchdown. I think one thing Myles has to learn how to do better, and something that Burrow did a lot. Myles needs to learn how to step up into the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
When it's collapsing around him, step up into it. And Burrow, of course, did that a lot last year in Texas game. It won the game for him, but he did that a lot. I think Myles, if on that play, for instance, that interception, the first one, if he would have stepped up in the pocket and thrown, that'd been a touchdown. The guy would have touched him from behind. So he's learning. I think he'll be fine. The defense has got to come along quicker. The secondary's come along quicker. Stingley back this week, and they play Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt played A&M tough over the weekend, so this isn't a walk in the park for LSU. They better show up and play.
This is, to me, talking to Ron Higgins, the editor for Tiger Rag, this to me just puts in stark relief how much those non-conference games mean to the Power 5 teams, especially ones that aren't returning a bunch of people and are kind of, I don't want to say starting over, but certainly a group that has a lot of new faces. When you bring in a UAB, or you bring in a Northwestern State or a Nichols or someone like that, that gives you a chance to work all these out. And I keep hearing these people talking about, hey, we should play not only Power 5 teams, or we should play only 9, 10 conference games. And I go, you do realize what the outcome of this is, right? I don't think people understand that.
I think you're going to see that this year, what the outcome is. I think there'll be a lot of people in this league with 2 losses and 3 losses. At the top, because you don't have that leeway going in. And you're right. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, in a non-conference game, you probably LSU probably could have escaped with a win because, frankly, they won't play receivers that could beat them that bad every play. And, so you work things out and you get your confidence. So, you look around the league last week and all those games, except for Florida put a bunch of points, but everybody kind of had their struggles within the game. I mean, Arkansas led Georgia 7-5.
Right.
Auburn struggled their game. I mean, Alabama was up 38-3, and Missouri scored late. I mean, it wasn't what you see in a first conference game, because the first conference game is usually the second or third week of the season, and so it was a typical first game with a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it certainly was. All right, let's talk about some good things that happened. Jabril Cox, I thought, flashed really, even after playing, as Gary Danielson said, Division III football last year.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. Jabril Cox, I thought, flashed. He obviously had the interception return for touchdown, which makes that pretty easy. Ali Gay seemed to be very, very good. I thought, a couple of the freshman corners had some moments. The interception there on the man-to-man coverage in the third quarter. Walk me through, especially defensively, on a day when not a lot went right, some of the things that you thought were positives.
I mean, Ali Gay was tremendous. I mean, he's 6'6", he's 260 something, and I mean, virtually, they had to throw over him every time. I mean, they had him down for blocking 3 passes. He probably came close to blocking like 4 more. He's a force, man. I mean, they got a steal on him, an absolute steal on this guy. He's going to be tough to deal with all year. He played great from beginning to end, man. Beginning to end. 2 tackles for losses out of 3 tackles. And 3 pass breakup. Again, could have been more. Jabril Cox is as good as advertised. Gary Danielson, by the way, Jabril Cox played for 3 straight years for a national champion at the FCS level. So,
right.
Let you know that.
Yeah, he did actually come back and correct himself after the break. As somebody clearly said, hey, by the way, you said he was a Division III player. He's like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Wasn't much of an apology.
Yeah, I thought Damone Clark played good at linebacker. He had 11 tackles. But, again, the defensive backfield was just, missed tackles.
Mm-hmm.
The missed tackle on the 75-yard touchdown pass, that was a killer play. I mean, LSU kind of just got momentum back on a touchdown pass to Marshall. And Costello throws all day LSU could not understand what a wheel route concept was.
Right.
All day. And they threw it again to him. And honestly, he's their best offensive player by far. And they got him in open space. And LSU missed a tackle on the sideline. The guy went the distance. And that really, to me, just flipped the game momentum. I mean, from then on, LSU was kind of to play catch-up. They did catch him. But that really flipped it, and that was pretty typical today. Just sloppy tackling, getting beat one-on-one. And LSU did its best to overcome it, but they couldn't get it done.
All right, so is the glow from 2019 officially off for the fan base, or do we have a more reasoned approach to this based on what happened last year, or is it already, hey, we got to fire all these people. These people are terrible. I mean, what are we looking at here?
Well, I mean, for some of the fan base, it's that way.
Right.
Some of the fan base, really. I thought all summer, the fan base was kind of going to be real unrealistic. 2019's over, man. You got to move on. That's what, if you want to be a championship program, that's what people, you don't sit there and revel over what you did. You got to move on, and I think Ed did that. I think he really did that. But again, this team just it was a perfect storm. What happened to him? Joe Burrow always called last year's offense a perfect storm. How everything came together at the right time, the right play caller, the passing coordinator, the right receivers. It was a perfect storm for State Saturday. I mean, they hit LSU when their secondary is convoluted with young people and then couldn't guard a one-on-one. Had a veteran quarterback who was really patient, did a great job of throwing underneath. Took his shots downfield and hit them. And so, 2019 is over. It was over a long time ago, and it's time to move on and make the best of this season. They need to play better defensively. They need to do a lot of things better, but defensively is the one that was. I still think Myles is going to be a good quarterback. Nobody's ever going to be Joe Burrow. Never, ever, never, ever. But he can be a really good quarterback, and they just got give him a chance and get some game experience. again, he's got sacked 6 times, held the ball too long, missed some open receivers, missed some open reads, but still battled back, had 3 touchdowns, and really had a shot to win the game.
Yeah. Do you think enough credit is given to what is a very can be a very perplexing defense? Rocky Long at San Diego State ran that 3-3-5. That's where their defensive coordinator comes from, Mississippi State. And I broke this down a lot on Monday. The 3-3 is a very confusing defense if you haven't seen it, because everything is angles. Guys are never moving straight. They're always moving sort of at an angle. Do you think some of that played in as well, as especially with the offensive line play?
Well, that's possible, yeah. And Brennan said he had problems, throwing the short passes because they already had. I mean, the way the defense was set up, they were already in the passing lanes, right where you want to throw the ball. The short stuff downfield. I mean, the 3-3 was lined up that way. They're already, and so he kind of had to eat the ball or go elsewhere with it. Yeah, it's a tough defense. I mean, Auburn played it some last year against LSU. And, LSU eventually figured it out some, but LSU also had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who just ran the ball down Auburn's throat last year when they did that.
Right.
Behind a really good line. LSU really didn't have that alternative Saturday. They don't have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's killing it for Kansas City. And their line is rebuilt. So this is going to be a work in progress, for those LSU fans. Treasure last year, put in your memory bank, and move on, because you got to move on because there's almost everybody's doing this house.
Yeah,
and so yeah.
Talking to Ron Higgins, editor of Tiger Rag. All right, so you get to talk to the coaches via Zoom. You don't really get access to the players. How difficult is it to really get a handle on the kind of mood of the team when you're not really getting the sort of in-person access that you're used to getting? Yeah,
well, I think the mood of the team is probably a reflection of the mood of the coach and mood of the head coach, and that head coach is not happy at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing about Ed. He's never lost 2 games in a row at LSU. Never.
Yeah.
They always come back the next week. He fixes stuff pretty quick. He really does. Ed Orgeron fixes stuff pretty quick. And he'll fix what he saw last week. Again, they should win this week, but nothing's in the bag. Vandy played A&M real good. Everybody seems to love A&M. I'm not fully sold on A&M, but everybody loves them.
They have for 3 years.
Yeah, they've been loving for 3 years.
Yeah.
They're great. I mean, they're the dark horse. Blah 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 blah. And then they end up, 8-5.
Right.
So they got Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt has a starter true freshman quarterback last week. Didn't play terrible, and then they have Missouri at home. Then they really get into it. That's when you start hitting the Florida, Auburns, and Alabamas of the world, and that's when it gets real. So they got to get this thing straight in the next 2 weeks to go into those games with a amount of confidence.
Last thing for you, Ron. Do the visiting media travel?
Yeah, there were a few people there. There were a few. Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm going to Vanderbilt this week.
Okay.
So, yeah, a few people travel. Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know if it was a hey, only home media kind of thing because of COVID protocols. So yeah.
Yeah, it's this is my 41st year of doing football. It was just really strange. It still is strange. I know it's got to be strange for the people who play it, the football team, because it's like. Most of LSU fans opted out of the season tickets, and you got to feel like kind of abandoned, I mean, it's like you're almost like you're in it for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's hard to do. It's almost like you're in it for yourself. You got to kind of manufacture your own enthusiasm and motivation.
Well, that's one of the things Orgeron talked a lot about was bringing their own energy. And
they did.
Feel like they didn't do that.
They didn't bring it. No.
Yeah.
And so. Supposedly Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's only stadium in the SEC that doesn't allow any fans in.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is the policy that they've had for years because nobody goes to their games anyway. Vanderbilt has been socially distancing for years. People just don't know about it. This time there'll really be nobody there.
Well, Ron, I can tell you this: that was a rim-worthy comment. rim shot worthy comment, but Hambone's watching Jose Altuve walk in the go ahead run in the top of the ninth, so he's not paying any attention to us.
It's good. It's after 4:30. He's done.
Yes. Ron, you're the best, my friend. Safe travels up to Vanderbilt. Hope you and the family all stay safe and keep your head down. And here's hoping for a win, so you don't have to talk about any more losses.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right.
See you, brother.
See you.
Ron Higgins, editor of Tiger Rag Magazine.